This is gonna be such a friggin' pain. Oh my god. I almost don't want to do this. I almost don't want to do this at all. Okay. I will however set it up so that we've got a new thing to do. Broadcast options. Looking at the policies of the new Conservative Party. All right. Okay, community policy. New Conservative is committed to... I'm going to put on a little bit of music because I'm going to need it. I'm going to need it. If it's loud, just tell me. And I'll fix it up. Alright. Okay. New Conservative is committed to unified communities that will be made safer, healthier and stronger through priority being given to what unites us and encourages respect towards our differences. This is their community policy. I may as well start here rather than starting at family policy. Okay, New Zealanders are united in our expectation that our government will provide good education for our children, affordable and accessible healthcare, protection from the impacts of crime, opportunity to be able to provide for ourselves and our families, support and security for our most vulnerable citizens, freedoms to live our lives without unreasonable interference where those freedoms do not adversely impact the quality of life for others, assurance that all citizens will be treated equally before the law, regardless of ethnicity, gender, age, or religion. This is all extremely uncontroversial. This is all extremely everyone is going to agree with this. The only thing is that there's a couple of dog whistles here. Assurance that all citizens will be treated equally before the law, regardless of ethnicity, gender, age, and religion. The implication is that we are not treated equally before the law. Which I agree, we are not. Freedom to live our lives without unreasonable interference. Yeah, okay. New Conservative holds that New Zealanders are one people and will ensure that all New Zealanders have their rights represented equally regardless of ethnicity, gender, age or religion. New Conservative will recognise and ensure support is provided based upon need, with greatest need enjoying greatest benefit. We will not predetermine policy assuming that all persons of a particular ethnicity, gender, age or religion have a greater need than others. But this... alright, I understand. But it's really simple. It's much simpler to assume that, for example, poor Maori people need a little bit more help, need a little bit more support than rich white people, the rich Pākehā. We assume that refugees as a a general group need specific support. Like, it's much easier to kind of predetermine things in a broad sense for the state than to bespoke create policy for each specific problem. It is important for New Zealand to be forward-focused, free, fair and flourishing. Goodness. Investing in the family unit requiring... There's an interesting dog whistle. Family values requiring individual responsibility and accountability. And encouraging unity based upon mutual respect are the priorities of New Conservative in building healthy communities. New Conservative believes the Treaty of Waitangi, Te Tiriti or Waitangi, ensures the same rights and privileges are available for everyone. Okay. New Conservative believes the Treaty of Waitangi ensures the same rights and privileges are available for everyone. Well, kinda doesn't though, does it? It singles out Maori as having kawanatanga, as having governorship over their own land and their own people. As such, legal and property rights in New Zealand should be based on its citizenship, not on ethnicity. That's not what the treaty says. The treaty says that Maori have specific legal and property rights of which they have kawanatanga of which they have governorship over. New Conservative recognises that the Treaty of Waitangi is an agreement signed in 1840 between Maori chiefs and the British government, one sovereign government, so to speak. Okay. Yep. New Conservative will implement corrections to current legislation and policy so that the capability and potential for all those of Maori ancestry is respected, and that policy does not infer incompetence according to collective identity as currently observed. What does that mean? What does that mean? Right. It's saying that Maori are incompetent because of our current legislation and policy. But the policy does infer incompetence. I'm not sure what that means. It's really curious. I don't know if that's a dog whistle, because it's not something which I've really seen before. My nose is fucking going. The corrections required will include repeal race-based co-governance arrangements that have been built into legislation, recognising that New Zealand has one sovereign government and democratic process which includes the involvement of citizens of any ethnicity. Okay. I assume this is talking about Maori seats in Parliament? Oh yeah, it is. Like I said, it's not really what the treaty says. Repeal any requirement for race-based consultations from the Resource Management Act on the basis that consultation with all affected parties already exist. Okay. So if they're negotiating or consulting with all affected parties, that includes iwi groups, who are race-based, and we, according to the treaty, we must say that iwi are consulted. This is our legal results that we've come to at this point. Disestablished Maori electorates, acknowledging that the separate Maori role is dividing New Zealanders by ethnicity at the same time as dividing Maori. The original purpose for the separate Maori role has long passed. I don't know if I agree with this. I'd have to look into it a little bit further to have like a deeper argument about it. MMP provides greater opportunity for minor party and special interest representation. I like MMP. I think it's pretty good. negating the need for segregation based upon ethnicity. It's been legally defined that it's part of the Waitangi Treaty that this quote-unquote segregation must occur. Disestablish the Waitangi Tribunal. Yikes! Leaving any final historic settlements that are still in the pipeline. The Waitangi Tribunal is the Crown, isn't it? I'm 100% sure that the Waitangi Tribunal is representative of the Crown. Set a deadline to end treaty settlements. I'm not sure I agree with that. To say that it's done and dusted is a deep misunderstanding of our material and historical events. The material and historical facts of the situation. Remove reference to the principles of the treaty from... Whoa. Okay. Remove reference to the principles of the Treaty of Waitangi from legislation. Any reference to the treaty should be to the actual treaty where no mention of principles exists. Assuming that the principles aren't defined in law, I kind of agree with this. To refer to principles without solid and consistent legislation of what those principles are, a bit dicey. Repeal the marine and coastal area. Nope. No. Review all race-based funding to ensure and that there is transparent accountability. I mean, sure. I think that that Maori. I think it should. I have nothing against a review. A review with the predisposed thought that it is being done incorrectly would be bad. That it is done in a non-transparent manner. I don't really agree with that. It's delivered according to need, not ethnicity. But in so many cases, the need and the ethnicity overlap. Protect and fund the teaching of Māori language and culture, making it readily available without allowing compulsion. Okay, how do they intend to protect and fund the teaching if it's not compulsory? If it can be choose not to, go into it, then what does that mean? We will focus on the delivery of future the prize opportunity to succeed, protecting from recourse to any breaches of human rights, 30 years of expanding welfare. I really don't think it's welfare delivery that causes generational welfare, but the fact that we are a small country, we're not very wealthy, we have a lot of situations where communities and groups have been kind of let loose, let free. It's not welfare itself, I don't think. No one wants to be on welfare. Welfare's not very much money. If they're on welfare, and if they're on welfare generationally or in a long time, it's because there are other problems and lack of opportunities. I absolutely do not believe. I think we could factually look this up as well. New Conservative is committed to stop treating Māori as incompetent citizens. Yeah, it's really curious. I wonder where this comes from. Incompetent citizens. That saying, oh hey, a lot of Māori communities need a little bit more help. Does that say that Māori are in general incompetent? Or rather that the state is incompetent at engaging with Māori communities? Everyone likes personal responsibility. Everyone likes the fact that Everyone likes parents looking after children, or training, or working. Free speech. Everyone likes free speech. New Conservative upholds and defends the current definition in New Zealand that everyone has the right to freedom of expression, including the freedom to seek, receive and impart information and opinions of any kind in any form. New Conservative will ensure that free speech in New Zealand remains free in order to allow ideological engagement and robust debate, to give citizens the right to hear all information in order to make properly informed decisions in the spirit of true democracy. This is inoffensive. Controls and restrictions on communication must be carefully considered. The role of government is not to dictate to individual citizens on what is subjectively viewed as acceptable or not, but censoring only when addressing criminal thinking. The societal value of women and men. This is a dog whistle. New Conservative recognises the importance of women and men in our community, families and in the workplace. Okay. Successful communities are created on the basis that all individuals are provided the opportunity and freedoms to achieve its potential. Okay. New Conservative will continue to recognise that women's contribution to society is not measured purely on the basis of remuneration. Choice of career, decisions to work full or part-time, taking promotion should be based upon personal preference and not on an expectation that earnings are the determination of success or equality. Equal work for equal pay, mate. Like, no one's expecting a part-time worker to be drawing the same as, you know, a highly paid salary worker. No, that's ridiculous. But if there are inequalities in the same jobs, if careers are overwhelmingly gendered, then that needs to be looked into. That needs to be addressed. Also, New Conservative recognises the value of men as husbands and fathers in the lives of their children, and will correct any deficiencies in gender discrimination in the family courts. Okay, I have never seen in all of my research that there's a meaningful discrimination and deficiency in the family court. Men who choose to contend family court decisions almost always win. Men who don't, and there are more men who don't contend family court than do, well, they're not going to get access to their children. Like, I don't think there's really any very good evidence of gender discrimination in family courts. If there is good evidence, please give it to me. I want it. I would love to see real evidence, because the evidence that I've seen doesn't say that's the truth. New Conservative recognises the value of women and sees no positive benefit resulting from legalising prostitution. Okay, how about the fact that, you know, women who are sex workers, men who are sex workers, non-binary people who are sex workers are no longer fucking being arrested or being hassled by cops? How about the fact that it means a lot more people can get a legitimate income? A lot more people can have a freer life? Are those not positive benefits? I don't. We will adopt the Nordic model and criminalise the buying of sex. Nordic model is not good. I've read statistics that say it increases the likelihood of assault and murder of sex workers. It makes sex workers less safe than the full decriminalisation, full legalisation we have here. People who disagree will bring up things like, sex legalisation and decriminalisation increases sex trafficking. I suggest you actually look into that a little bit further. It increases reported sex trafficking, which is a good thing. If it's illegal, people don't report that they've been sex trafficked, like, because it's a crime. New Conservative will continue to drive policy that protects individuals from discrimination based upon gender. Cool. In addition, we will deliver social policy that will support options other than 2 full-time working parents, such as income splitting tax options, to assist parents who choose to provide full-time care for their children. I think income tax splitting, I think it's probably a bad idea. It's probably going to be super inefficient and ideologically driven. You already get tax credits if you got children. Like, I'm moderately certain that a one household working family who earns $150,000 a year gets more tax credits than, despite paying a higher overall tax rate, than a family, 2 working parents who earn $75,000 a year. I'm pretty sure that's the case. So these probably completely unnecessary. Gender. New Conservative recognizes there are 2 biological genders. Yikes. Let's completely ignore intersex people and just use the biological gender fucking... This isn't a dog whistle, it's a wolf howl. We also recognize that gender identity disorder, dysphoria, and disorders of sex development are challenging issues. Okay, yeah, let's medicalize all of this shit. Yeah, let's put them in the medical institution. Foucault would love that. In support of strong, healthy communities, continue to recognize purifying. Support taxpayer funding for counselling and will withdraw funding for any form of gender reassignment. So that's ideologically driven. If the facts determine that gender reassignment is an effective treatment, then, well, maybe we should consider continuing with gender reassignment. Remove teaching of gender ideology from all education programs. Oh boy. What they mean here is gender diverse ideology. Which, if they were removing the teaching of all gender ideology, I would love that. Let's not teach anything about what is masculine, what is feminine. Let's let these kids work it out on their own. Fantastic. Religion. Citizens of New Zealand enjoy religious freedom and are allowed to... Yep. New Zealand culture is the combination of democracy and Judeo-Christian principles. Like, I agree with that. I don't like it. I want us to have a secular nation. I want us to be more secular than we are currently. This provides the freedoms, the fairness, and the environment to flourish that our nation is renowned for. New Conservative will uphold these foundational principles and ensure there's no conflicting jurisdictional authority in New Zealand, such as aspects of Sharia law. Everything done by Sharia law, or Sharia, you can just say Sharia, because Sharia means law. Everything done by Sharia law in New Zealand is contract law, births, deaths, and marriages. Those are really important to the Islamic faith. It's almost always compatible with a New Zealand law. They clearly don't bring up the fact that Jews have specific contract law as well. Don't bring up the fact that Hindus or whatever have Don't bring up the fact that Hindus have specific marriage law of their own, which they follow, which is as a religious thing. Like, just singling out the Muslims. Like, come on, mate. We got religious freedom. Let them practice their religion how they like. And if some of that is contract law and some of that is contractual engagement, because some of that is how Muslims want to engage with their own contracts, I don't see that as being conflicting jurisdictional authority. Like, I don't know. New Zealand is a generous society. We will work to protect people's charitable initiatives. Great. If you're rich, you can get tax benefits from your charitable donations. Amend current legislation to protect volunteers from prosecution under the Health and Safety. Protect schools, marketplace groups. Oh! This is talking about. So a few years ago, there was a whole bunch of stuff about how you couldn't have a bake sale anymore. That you couldn't have. Sorry, I just seen this, Junior. Oh, you're gonna love this. There's a thing about a bake sale. That they would be subject to health and safety laws. Like, it never really amounted to anything, and I never heard of anyone being charged under these laws or fined or anything. So I don't know what's going on with that, but that's a clear reference to that. Review the Charities Commission. I mean, sure, review all the stuff. Apply normal corporate tax rules when the charitable enterprise engages in commercial activity in competition with other businesses. You know what? Sure. I like that. That's good. That's some good policy. I like it. Okay. Family policy. Ooh, we're gonna love this. Ooh, look at how nice these are. Euthanasia, income splitting, abortion, marriage, prostitution, pornography, youth policy, education, heritage, welfare. Let's read the full family policy. Oh, this is gonna be good. Euthanasia. New Conservative is opposed to the decriminalisation of euthanasia. This is not a surprise to me, but also, like, euthanasia is a moral and ethical necessity. Like, euthanasia reduces suffering. I'm all for reducing suffering. Sometimes the best palliative care possible is to pull the fucking plug. It's to give them a dose of heroin that will fucking blow their heads off. That's sometimes the best palliative care. Abortion policy. New Conservative is opposed to the decriminalisation of abortion. That's also not surprising, and also, again, does not meaningfully reduce suffering. The Abortion Act needs to be reviewed. The Abortion Act needs to be reviewed. Abortion needs to be fully decriminalised in New Zealand to completely, to more effectively reduce suffering. Oh my god. The rights of the unborn child need to be defined in law to acknowledge the pain capability of the unborn child. Oh my god. Okay, so abortion is torture, according to these people. Protecting the unborn child from not treatment by banning abortion after 13 weeks. That's 3 months. A lot of people don't know. A lot of people don't know that they are pregnant until after 13 weeks. Forcing people to continue to carry a pregnancy to term, if they miss this 13-week deadline by a couple of weeks, is inhuman and cruel. New Conservative will ensure that anyone seeking abortion is given sufficient factual information, ideologically compromised information through compulsory independent counselling and a minimum of 48 hours reflection time. Most people think about their abortion for a long time, for days before they go through with it. They are almost always making an informed choice. This is some bullshit. Pill reversal for chemical abortions. That doesn't exist. That doesn't exist. Pill reversal for chemical abortions. No. That doesn't exist. That's a myth. That's a myth peddled by hardcore American fundamentalists. That's bizarre. Alternative paths such as adoption. Adoption is really expensive. Really economically expensive. And a lot of adopting parents just aren't suitable. Aren't suitable to look after children, especially children which, like, I mean, some adoptive parents are great. Some adoptive parents are amazing. My dad was adopted. And oh, you know what? Honestly, I don't like my grandfather. But my grandmother, she is the sweetest, most amazing person in the world. She had nothing. She has nothing. Had nothing but love to give. But that's not the case with all adoptive parents. New Conservative will ensure that the matter of coercion and other factors that may render an abortion illegal be addressed. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Is this doctors being coercive? Is this partners? I assume it means doctors. New Conservatives will ensure that except in exceptional circumstances, parental notification occurs in regards to abortion procedures for children aged 16 and under. I do not agree with that at all. Yikes. Sometimes a kid gotta have secrets. Sometimes a kid is in an abusive situation and can't speak to their parents about getting an abortion. Some of them can't even speak about having sex. Some of them haven't had the sufficient education to talk to their parents about sex or know what safe sex is. Like, I can't agree with this. I can't agree with this at all. There's too many edge cases to make this ethical. Income splitting policy. I don't know much about this. I think that it's irrelevant. I think that it's not meaningful in this country. Yeah, New Zealand tax laws do not support or facilitate income splitting. I think it's redundant. I don't think it's necessary, but I'd need to look in a little bit more. The traditional definition of marriage goes back thousands of years and spans all cultures. New Conservative believes in the traditional definition of marriage as between one biological man. Oh my god, I can't even say this with a straight face. One biological man and one biological woman, with all other legal arrangements categorized as civil unions. Can't get gay married under the New Conservatives. Oh my god. We believe that couples should undergo pre-marriage or relationship training prior to entering into marriage, and that this will be state-funded. Does that mean Christian indoctrination or something else? I'm curious. To support strong marriages, state-sponsored marriage counselling. Yeah, I love that. Actually, sign me up. State-sponsored marriage counselling sessions. That sounds fucking fantastic. I'm sure a lot of people could do with it. In the unfortunate event of divorce and separation, both parents have equal rights and access to their children. Went over this a little bit before, but like, I don't know if it happens nearly as much as they claim it does. New Zealand is a generous and caring nation which endeavours to provide a safe, healthy environment for the nurture of all New Zealanders. Part of that care is a welfare system that meets the basic needs of those who are unable to provide for themselves, or some assistance for those who need some help. New Conservatives' intention for welfare is to provide a safety net and short to medium term support to empower people in empower people in difficulty to discover or return to the dignity of personal independence or prosperity. Short to medium term, they're going to cut your benefit. Personal independence. Woo. Welfare support must never entrap people in benefit dependency. Welfare support must never entrap people in benefit dependency. That's a really nice thing to say when you're not just saying that, when you've not just said that you're going to cut people's benefit. Yeah, Junior, marriage counselling would help a lot of people. I absolutely agree. Youth policy. New Conservative values children. Yeah, you value them enough to be forced to be born. Recognise the vital role parents play. Parents must be honoured as primary caregivers. Parents must be honoured as the primary caregivers and be afforded the opportunity to decide what is best for their child. We believe that parents should be notified for all medical procedures on their children's 16 years and under, including but not limited to abortion and immunizations, etc. I don't particularly like this, not because parents' involvement with their children is important, but rather because sometimes a child needs a medical procedure, and it is not in the best interest of the child to inform the parent. New Conservative believes that all parents should be eligible for a tax rebate equivalent to 20 hours per week of childcare subsidies, regardless of whether they choose to stay at home. Okay. I guess I don't disagree with that in principle, but I don't know if it's the most efficient use of resources. It also heavily incentivizes stay-at-home parents, which, one is ideologically driven, and two, just I don't love. New Conservative has called for the formation of an independent ministry, Children Oranga Tamariki Complaints Authority. I agree with that as well. Yep. That could probably be really helpful and could probably prevent abuses by MCOT. New Conservative believes that a study on youth behaviour should be undertaken with a view to whether or not concepts like curfews, improved sport funding and increased family time initiatives would be effective in curbing unhealthy behaviour. That's interesting. Sure, improve sport funding, improve social things. I don't know if a curfew, and what does increased family time mean? A lot of these kids, increased family time means increased possibilities of hidings. New Zealand has the highest youth suicide rate in the developing world. We do. It is statistics. We cannot be ignored. It can't. New Conservative is committed to exploring the causes of and implementing measures needed in order to tackle our suicide epidemic within New Zealand. Good. Few enough people are talking about this. If New Conservative is the only party talking about it, then I guess I'm going to take my allies where I can. Jesus. Education. New Conservative recognises the vital role education plays in the holistic development of a young person, not just in academics. Trained in healthy, respectful relationships and great family values. Sex education should primarily be taught by parents. No, it shouldn't. Sex education should be mandated by the state, where they can determine what the correct education is. And turns out that the best education is, as also Junior says, sometimes there's not enough time to get parental consent. Holy shit, sometimes there is not. I need to get a second monitor. This working off two machines is not working for me. Sex education should primarily be taught by parents. No, God, no. If you want all children to have similar sex education, if you want sex education to be meaningful, it needs to be done by the state, it needs to be done by the school. Parents have proven that they're not capable of adequately teaching sex to their children. We believe that relationship education, so indoctrination into the idea of marriage, it's got to come early, can't just come from Mills and Bourne books. Parents should have the right to withdraw their children from school-based sex education. No. Sex education should not be started in schools until after year 9. No. Young children can understand what their genitalia are. Some young children can understand what consent means. These things need to be taught early so that they don't have shame about their bodies. Oh my God. Family planning should be required to include abstinence and long-term relationships as the option with the best outcomes for all in their syllabus or lose their funding. No way. Abstinence only doesn't work. Long-term relationships don't work. Like, more than half of marriages end in divorce. Like, the idea that long-term relationships are is the option with the best outcome is frankly laughable. New Conservative believes research that shows gender identity issues are psychological and not physiological. I thought the research was open there, but also, like, I'm really uncomfortable with this medicalization of gender diverse experience. Like, I don't believe that trans people or gender diverse expressing people are mentally ill or necessarily mentally ill. Like, gender identity should not be taught in schools. Gender identity will be taught in these schools. Just the gender identity that New Conservative thinks is normal. When, like, whatever. Students should use bathrooms, changing rooms, and participate in sport based on their biological gender. Pornography policy. New Conservative believes that our children and young people should be able to surf the net for education, study, and social interaction and safety without being confronted by and/or lured into sexually explicit images and material. Pornography is an ever-increasing mental health problem and harmful to society at large. New Conservative would ultimately like to see the supply of pornography cut off, but our first approach will be to introduce legislation requiring internet service providers to block access to explicit adult websites by default. So free speech is free except for when it involves sex and gender. So, yeah, I don't really believe what they're saying about free speech. Oh my God. All porn in New Zealand would be blocked or filtered. Also, do they understand how much of a technical unfeasibility this is? Do they know how technologically difficult it is to block all pornography? Like, this is basically impossible. And, just not feasible. Like, New Conservative believes that the purchasing of sex from a street prostitute... Oh my God, can they say sex worker, please? Like, prostitutes. And they're registered brothels. So they allow registered brothels. Should be monitored closely for illegal workers trafficking and health standards. So what they mean by this is that despite the fact that sex workers are the group who has the best work on their sexual health, who have the most knowledge about sexual health, and who are most careful about sexual health, are going to be invasively tested by the state. That these brothels, they're gonna have fucking cops come into them again just like back in the 80s. They'll have fucking cops come in, shaking these people down, getting IDs. Fuck. Yeah, right. Heritage policy. New conservative values and will protect our New Zealand culture, heritage and identity. Well, some aspects of who... Oh, this is their traditionalist... this is their traditionalist Christian stuff. New conservative as opposed to trading on Good Friday and Easter Sunday. We believe that families can benefit greatly from the few days there are each year when there is no requirement to work. Oh my god, you still gotta eat. You still gotta fill your car up with petrol. Like, that's ridiculous. Justice policy. This is gonna be good. Boot farms policy. That's exciting. Boot farms policy. I wonder if that's what it sounds like. I wonder if that's what it sounds like at all. Sentencing policy. New Conservative recognises that while there should always be a punitive aspect to sentencing, major focus of sentencing should be to provide an opportunity and incentives for a prisoner to change their ways. Okay. Okay, we will increase the maximum sentences outlined in legislation for all violent, firearm-related and sexual crimes and ensure that offenders actively involve themselves in work and education. Okay, so by providing an opportunity, they're going to make them spend longer in prison. Okay? Parole would be from stage to stage, and incentivizing prisoners to move through stages faster with appropriate behaviour. Okay. I mean, open prisons are generally better than regular prisons. I don't know. We believe that where someone commits multiple crimes for which they are convicted, the perpetrator should serve each sentence sequentially. So that definitely provides an opportunity and incentives for a prisoner to change their ways. You know, spending like ages in prison. Yeah, that's a real incentive, right? New Conservative will increase sentences for white-collar crime. Yeah. We do not believe our current legal system adequately addresses the disruption caused by those who perpetrate frauds. I mean, sure. We will also investigate all possible ways of ensuring perpetrators recompense their victims. Yeah, okay. I mean, that doesn't seem terrible. I mean, a lot of people basically get away with white-collar crime, so yeah. New Conservatives believes that there is an unacceptable level of crime which occurs while people are out on bail. I would really love to see like actual statistics on this. Like, cripes. Anyone charged with a serious crime that attracts a mandatory prison sentence should be refused bail. I mean, innocent until proven guilty, but whatever. Society down. I mean, yeah, I don't like it. I don't think more punitive measures are needed. I don't think more punitive measures are effective. But like, I can understand how they came to this, and I can't like really disagree with it without getting to like a kind of philosophical argument. New Conservative will set fines at a minimum of twice the estimated cost of damages or thefts. I mean, people can't pay those already, so I don't know what that's going to do, but whatever. New Conservative will investigate the impact of plea bargaining on justice. I mean, I think I disagree with what plea bargaining does, but for a different reason to New Conservative. Oh my god. Whether justice is actually being served or whether justice is being passed over in the name of expediency. A jury trial is really, really fucking expensive. Like, insanely expensive. I don't I understand why the current system accepts plea bargains, because sometimes it's better to give them a lighter sentence and take a guilty charge than it is to go through a heinously expensive jury trial. Rehabilitation policy. New Zealand 2009 reoffending rate within 2 years of release was 70%. Despite of government goals, it has not changed much since then. Yeah, it's because prisons are fucking terrible. Like, basically teach people, and like, also it's not just the prisons, it's also these people's social and economic experience in their life outside of prison. Like, they exit prison and suddenly they can't get a job because they're a convict. Suddenly they know all these contacts who they can deal drugs and fence stolen goods through. Like, I don't know. There are a number of community groups that help prisoners reintegrate. We'll provide these groups with better recognition and support. I agree with that. I agree with that, at least. New Conservative will ensure that part of a prisoner's sentence will include completing a specified number of educational papers. I like that. This is really cool. I mean, forcing it on them, maybe not ideal, especially because, not gonna lie, a lot of people who repeatedly put in prison have serious cognitive deficiencies. Like, I'm sorry, but if you're not very bright, you're gonna commit more crimes. Not always, of course, but, like, you know, it's there. These would be set in consultation with the prisoner. I like this. I like this. That seems fine. I agree. It's also, from what I recall, education and vocational training significantly reduces reoffending chances. New Conservative believes that prisoners should be working in meaningful and profitable work while in prison, with a portion of the funds raised through working used to recompense victims of their crime. Other funds will go towards the cost of their incarceration and rehabilitation. This means that they're okay with prisoners being slaves. I'm not. New Conservative acknowledges research recognises the brain damage excessive alcohol consumption causes to young people. Raise the purchasing and drinking age to 20 years old. Oh my god, yeah, whatever. New Conservative will reinstate drunk and disorderly. Drunk and disorderly is a completely redundant charge. Like, nearly every drunk and disorderly, when it was a thing, was used to fuck on homeless people. Like, completely just, like, wreck homeless people for being drunk in, you know, relative privacy. Oh my god. New Conservatives will implement a user pays system for drivers under the influence, required to pay all attributed costs, such as police time and testing costs. Oh my god. Like, I kind of agree, that people who drink drive should be severely, like, penalized, but I don't know if this is the way to do it. I really don't. The increasing availability and use of illicit drugs is doing irreversible harm. Strong families, healthy relationships, blah, blah, blah. Whoa! In the short term, New Conservative will provide police and correction staff with the necessary powers and authority to drug test offenders on probation, home detention, and bail. This will be expensive and inefficient. Those showing a pattern of addiction will be required to... New Conservative will enforce legislation and increase penalties for cannabis cultivation. No, we need distribution and personal use. No, we need liberalization of our drug policies, not increasing penalties. That absolutely will not work. It says here the detrimental effect of cannabis is well researched and documented. Sure, but the positive benefits of decriminalizing drugs, like in Portugal, that's really clear as well. It's the evidence, the facts show that drug liberalization almost always reduces other crimes, reduces HIV, reduces drug addiction in the first place, and also considerably frees up money from the justice system. Enforcement policy. We will investigate ways to re-empower police to deal with minor misdemeanors instantly and effectively. What does that mean? Does that mean that they say that police can bash citizens? I don't know. Makes me uncomfortable. Some of the language used there. Not really sure. Nothing more instant than a gun as well. Yeah, just put them down. New Conservative believes that our young people are our most valuable resource. Sure. Increasing youth crime. I don't know if it is increasing. Last I checked, the youth crime was decreasing. Oops. This website is so terrible. Like, I just clicked and it took me to the euthanasia policy. I'm really not sure why it did that. Before, the animations completely broke and it looked really weird for a little while. A preoccupation with rights with very little reference to responsibilities. Okay. That completely disregards what they said earlier about how they support human rights. We need to come down hard on first-time youth offenders. That's the people who you least want to come down hard on, but okay. As a deterrent to committing future crimes. Okay, so overhaul of the current youth system, timeframes for sentencing, increasing timeframes for youth court plans. You can't increase timeframes for kids being in fucking court. Like, you only got a short time where you can be a kid in the first place. Lower the age of offending for all charges to 12 years old. Jesus God. No way. A theft of a $1,000 item would require 80 hours community service. Oh my God. I can't. Families with youth who have offended will be required to undergo free counselling. I mean, maybe that's a good idea. Dealing with any present issues such as generational cycles of addiction, abuse, offending, and the breakdown of the family unit. Repeat offenders would be required to attend 1 year at an age-appropriate boot farm facility. Boot farm policy. This is what I was looking forward to. New Conservative believes that lock-up facilities are not the answer to many of our troubled youth problems. Fantastic, I agree. Many youth are entering adulthood without the basic concept of life, such as education, cooking, cleaning, hygiene, respect for themselves and for others, and an understanding of what a happy, healthy... The concept of a boot farms is to promote life skills and practical education. This is a holistic approach then. The comparable... that sentence doesn't work. They need someone to edit this quite badly. I've come across a few grammatical and spelling errors. New Conservative will purchase appropriate farms or transfer farms from Landcorp with the goal that they would eventually become financially independent. Financial independence would be possible due to revenues from farming and manufactured products produced via the youth programs. Child slavery! Fantastic! Oh my God. Much of the food required for the boot farms would come from the farm. These people don't know how farms work. Monoculture farms are so much more efficient than multiculture, then farms which make many products, multiculture products, like youth slaves. Like, this is actually been proven that animals are fantastic therapy for children and youth. Okay. So they'll be enslaved for a year on these boot farms, and it will be good for them because they'll work with animals. Fantastic. I love this. This is cool. Child abuse policy. Committed to reducing the appalling child abuse rates by identifying them and then dealing with them. Okay? Relationship education. So it's, again, comes back to this man and wife thing. Oh my god. Democracy policy. Vote of the people is essential in any modern democracy. It is used to elect and represent. The ability to force a referendum against the wishes of government would help provide that security. Okay. BCIR policy. Binding citizens initiated referenda. Cool. You know what? I would be interested in this. I am interested in this. This is probably where I agree with the New Conservatives the most. Reducing them to yes or no, I mean, ideally, yes, but I don't know if practically that's necessary. New Conservative would reduce the threshold of signatures to 5% of those who voted at the last general election. I'm okay with that. Absolutely okay with that. MPs' salaries policy. New Conservative would link any adjustment in MP salaries to the change in the average wage. Remove the responsibility from the Remuneration Authority and link their salaries to the average wage. I'm okay with this. I'm absolutely okay with this. This seems... Yeah, I'm cool with that. Good on you. Good on you. That's what, like 3.5 policies which I agree with, and the rest I'm like, yikes! Fantastic. Good on you. Increase the maximum expenditure allowed to promote a petition. Okay. Yeah. Ooh, actively pursue an electronic voting system secure enough. This would reduce costs substantially. I agree. Pretty much all the electronic voting systems that have been instituted worldwide so far have been astoundingly insecure. I mean, that being said, paper voting is pretty shit. So, yeah. Election threshold policy. New Conservative believes the threshold for representation is higher than ideal. Minimum threshold for any party to be represented should be 0.83%. Absolutely agree. Fantastic. I definitely agree with this. I think yes, our MMP threshold should be lowered. I think 1 MP actually pretty good. I think it would come to higher than 0.83 because that, I think it becomes 0.98 or something if you don't include the Māori seats, and I kind of disagree with removing the Māori seats. But yeah, I'm into this. I'm into that a lot. Good on you. No conscience votes. Would replace parliamentary conscience voting with binding referenda. Yeah, I kind of agree with this as well. While MPs are in the House as representatives, they're elected on the basis of policy, not conscience. Yeah, I agree with that. It is unreasonable to expect them to represent their electorate on matters of conscience. Yeah, I don't agree that my my representative would have the same conscience as I would. Yeah, cool. Voting public should be the ones who set the moral code of the nation, not 61 MPs. Sure. Maybe I agree with that. Maybe half people are below average intelligence. I can't trust them. List MPs go home policy. New Conservative would introduce a system where list MPs in Parliament who are not involved in the ruling party's coalition government would go home. They would not partake in parliamentary roles. What? Ooh, no. Oh, no. The party leader, however, would remain in Parliament and the voting rights of the party's list MPs would be given to the leader as proxy votes. No. 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 Doesn't work. Not gonna work. I think I've already read their community policy. Yeah, I have. Oh my god, this is so broken. Look at this. Look at this. What? What just happened there? I tried to open that in a new tab. What just happened there? That's just their community. Come on. Policy. Economic policy. I bet this economic policy is going to be completely incoherent. Housing policy. Housing addressed on multiple fronts, no simple solution. Agreed. Supply management. More bare land being brought to market. Timeframes for I mean, pre-consented plans, but not all buildings can be made on the same land due to like problems with soil and bedrock and sand and water content. Pre-consented plans aren't always going to be able to work. More bare land being brought to market. You need to think about that pretty carefully. Like, we see a lot of situations in a lot of countries, thinking specifically America and China, where whole suburbs, towns and cities are built and they're no good. They're no good because they have poor infrastructure. Weird. Demand management. Demand on housing initiatives to help New Zealand families into their own homes. Reviewing immigration policies and long-term plans. Okay. Rent to buy schemes. I mean, yeah, okay. Some of this demand management I could agree with it. Cost factors. Cost of creating. Yeah, housing system is fucked. It's so expensive and so difficult. Like, currently you need a 10% deposit to apply for a mortgage, your first mortgage as well, a 20% deposit if it's your second mortgage. And like, in my hometown where I would want to buy a house, like that represents $50,000, $55,000 or something. That's a lot of money. That's a year's full wages at a decent job. Skill shortfalls. Introduction of new apprenticeship schemes. Okay, yeah. Introduce trade streaming at year 9. Not sure about that. Like, year 9 is 13-year-old kids. 13-year-old kids don't know shit. I mean, I'm down with new apprenticeship schemes, and I'm down with kids who want to, you know, going into these apprenticeship schemes, but I don't know. Streamlining the code mark process. That means removing all barriers. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's the best idea. Okay, housing, mixed farming policy. Dependent on our rural farming community. Must encourage growth, sustainability of farming practices. I mean, New Conservative believes that developing intellectual property in New Zealand in agriculture and aquaculture, protecting it well and selling it globally is the key to improving outcomes. I don't love intellectual property in the first place, but, you know, maybe it's right. Maybe they are right that that's an avenue we could take. However, like, I don't necessarily think selling milk powder to the Chinese is our best economic backbone. Like, I'm not sure that's ideal for our long-term goals. I think we need a mixed economy with high technology as well as our farming economy. Environmental economics policy, make a positive impact. We would remove ourselves from international environment arrangements and instead invest the billions of dollars required by them? Really? Do we pay billions of dollars into international environment arrangements? I don't know if we do. Research and development fund to develop pollution solutions and export them. I mean, I don't mind that in a vacuum, but I don't think we should remove ourselves from international agreements. I think that would be very unpopular indeed. I mean, carbon credits aren't great in the first place, but if NZ eliminated its total carbon output, it would reduce global carbon by 0.22%. Sure, but the point is not that. The point is not that our contribution is meaningless. The point is that New Zealand has often punched above its weight. New Zealand has often been overrepresented in sports, in thinkers, in science, in innovation, and if we prove that it's possible in our small, fighty little nation, then we can prove to the world that it's possible. I mean, these pollution solutions are a good idea in theory, but I don't know. They could just be pipe dreams. There's not enough there for me to really think that it's any good. Immigration policy. Immigration is central. Balance to be struck. We believe that those who choose to immigrate should embrace New Zealand's culture. That's a dog whistle, isn't it? Yeah, whoa! Goes straight from a dog whistle to exactly saying what I was concerned about. Fantastic! I love this. No acceptance or allowance of Sharia law in any expression. This directly goes against what they said about freedom of religion. Sharia law is an integral part of Islamic practice, Islamic religious practice. Policy is net zero immigration. Oh my god. This would be for a period determined by a time taken to ease housing demand, which could be as little as 12 months. It wouldn't be as little as 12 months. Prioritizing immigrants who can add to our economy and not depend on it. Like, we already do this. We already do this. There's so hard to get a work visa. It's so hard to get a permanent residency. It's so hard to get citizenship in this country. Like, it costs substantial amounts of money. No one, absolutely no one is immigrating to New Zealand. Well, I mean, I say absolutely no one. There might be some who are depending on handouts. No one's depending on handouts who are immigrants. Like, I straight up don't believe this is happening. Operating in troubled zones to identify genuine refugees, okay, who are more closely aligned with our nation's values. Are these the Judeo-Christian nation's values, or like we're just gonna let those Muslims die rather than accepting the nation's allotment? No, we set the allotment, and the United Nations. New Zealand sets the allotment, and the United Nations helps us fill it, not the other. Never mind. Loan shark policy. I'm probably going to agree with this as well. Loan sharks are fucking terrible. Limiting the amount of interest allowed to be charged on a loan. Look at 15% per annum. Great. I agree with this. I absolutely agree with this. Yet not done. Yep. Placing the onus on the lender to ensure the loan agreement is feasible. People on a benefit should. Sometimes you need a little extra money. If the benefit actually was like 75% of the living wage, could probably borrow against the benefit a little bit better. But you know, that's not the situation we're in. I agree with most of this about loan sharks. Loan sharks are fucking terrible. They need to be regulated into the ground. Welfare policy. This might just be. Oh, this is exactly what they said earlier. Environment policy. Nearly done! Nearly done, folks! I'm excited. Emissions management. Rejects the emissions trading scheme, which imposes significant taxes and costs on everyday New Zealand. Does it really? I'm going to need to look up some figures, because I am not convinced. Set achievable targets. Yeah, okay. Z-Coal. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Okay. International agreements. We would pull out of the Kyoto Protocol and Paris Agreement, which is costing us billions of dollars. Is it? I thought we were making money off these things, but that's the weird carbon trading thing, so I don't actually know. I'm not sure if this is true. I mean, sure, supporting R&D, that's really important. I don't know. I don't know if that's true. Cool. Investigate and implement reasonable and affordable steps to ensure that our rivers and waterways are maintained to the highest achievable standard. Cool. Okay. Strongly support existing requirements in waterway fencing. I think they should be increased. Our waterway fencing laws requirements are pretty minimal. Yeah, okay. Modernize systems, okay. Affordable, but spend tons of money. Provide alternatives to bulk nitrogen fertilizing. Yeah, it's probably not too bad. Yep, okay. I probably agree with this. Reduce our reliance on excessive pesticides. Okay. I agree with that. Breathable air. Clean, breathable air. Okay. Yep. I think we already do that, but sure. Thriving oceans. Looked after and sustainably managed. Limit commercial fishing. Some areas need to be needs to have commercial recreational fishing limited as well. But okay, yeah, limit commercial fishing, cool. Already done, and limiting catches, cool. Look at boosting our fisheries officers, I don't mind that. I wouldn't mind using the Navy to remove those fishing in our waters illegally, or using illegal practices. I think that's one of the best uses for our Navy. And commercial fishing bans. Supports a reduction in single-use plastic bags. Okay. I agree with most of that. The next New Zealand election is in 2020. So yeah, it's coming up, but it's still quite a while away. New Conservative will invest more in R&D. Okay. I would love more investment in domestic R&D. That sounds great. Keen. Fantastic.